Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back after the chaos of this summer that it was never supposed to be chaotic, but it has been. What can you do? Welcome to our new house and farm. We are going to be calling it Fruitluck Farms in honor of the fruit-based community and the community of sharing foods and fruits that Fruitlucks are known for. And we just think it sounds like a name with a lot of future luck in it. So let me give you a short tour around the farm and brief discussions about what we are hoping to accomplish here. All right. So this is the new homestead. It's set on about 3/4 of an acre, but we're butted up against a green belt that's entirely unused, that's about 10 miles long. So there's some interesting possibilities back there. There is already a lot of landscaping here, but it's quite open, and a lot of the landscaping actually needs to be taken out. So as we come into the drive, the plan is to have espaliered fruit here. And it's going to be a little noisy because it's rush hour, but that's okay. And then in here we'll have some diverse shade loving berries and underfruit. Some of it will be for humans, some of it will be to attract birds and favorable biodiversity. Here you see in the front this huge open area. This is going to be where the very large full-size fruit trees are. As you can see, it's wide open. There's lots of room for them. And this winter you can see we've got a dead tree here, and this one's not doing so hot. And there's another dead one up here. So I'm going to be starting this weekend clearing all of this out in preparation of spring planting. It's going to look a little sparse out here for a while until those trees get growing. But eventually in this under area, we're going to do a permaculture setup with 7 levels. There's going to be 7 levels of food. There's going to be a tall canopy, mid-range, so we'll have dwarfed fruit trees, and then on the ground, crawling annuals, grasses, berries, vine fruits, and then root things as well. So that's what you're going to see in here. So as you can see in here, I have some more thinning to do. We'll leave in some of these trees to keep a strong biodiversity. In some of the newer ones, I'll have to transplant to the property line, mostly to avoid casting too deep a shadow where we want to produce fruit. Along this area here, we're going to be doing more espaliered fruit, and we'll probably do slightly higher here. This gets a lot of sun during the day. It's very rich soil. And then we'll do lower levels will be berries and climbing. If you follow around through here, you can see we've planted our first 2 trees when we moved in. These will just be dwarf trees here. These are nectarine and apricot. And then coming into here, we're going to see a huge change in this area. Over here, these maples will be taken out, and that's going to be all tall blueberry shrubs over there, and some other biodiversity as well. And in through here, we get a lot of sun, so there's going to be a mixture of herbs, wildflowers, pollinating, inviting different biodiversity, different things coming in for that. And then in here, this area will be a small nursery setup for seedlings and things we're trying to get going. We want to keep this close to the door because it'll need a lot of work, and so we want to be able to just come out and do the daily work there. coming along into this path here, this is going to be where we're going to get a lot of the greens happening year-round, and then some shade loving, some need partial shade. A lot of lettuces fry here, so a lot of these partial shaded areas here we'll be seeing beds, built up beds for greenery, and hardy greens and light greens. And then you see this whole circular area here, which is just really nice, and this is going to be all raised up vegetable beds in through here. And then, so because we're going to work on doing this as a permaculture setup, there'll be stuff growing all along the ground as well as in the raised beds, but a lot of that will be for fixing nitrogen and feeding back into the soil. Some of it will be for harvest, but really we just want to create this really dense food forest that's going to be just full of life and full of giving. So it'll be a little difficult to describe just in one short video take everything we're going to be doing. I just want to give a short tour. But yeah, this is going to be predominantly all of the vegetable beds here: greens, vegetables, herbs, wildflowers. And then so then you'll see out, and you'll look out into the front orchard there. So you can see there's a lot of work to be done here, but the potential is nice. And the thing that's very cool is that there's so much biodiversity here already. So as we slowly transform this into a food forest, we're already getting a lot of help from different species, and then we can just slowly trade one species in for a new species that gives us a bit more to work with. Now, when we moved in here, there is already some fruit producing trees, but they were never taken care of and they are in sad shape. But I'll show you what we've got here. So we've got this one apple tree, and you can see it's producing these really sick apples. It's got some sort of scab. They're diseased, and I'm gonna have to do a little more reading up on what to do with this tree. I might have to take it out. It might be contagious. I might be able to just trim it back and then graft a scab resistant variety into the existing rootstock. And then I'm going to need to trim back a lot of this stuff here to get it better light. There is a cherry tree right here, and it was producing decent cherries this spring. It just hasn't been pruned. It hasn't been given fertilizer or nutrients to grow with. It hasn't been given proper care, and it's blocked out a lot of its light. So it needs work, but I think that this tree can be salvaged and get some good production out of it in the next couple of years, and the cherries were really tasty. Over here we have an Asian pear tree, and you can see it's producing. It's a healthy tree, and again, it's making some nice big fruits, but it hasn't been taken care of. It hasn't been pruned. It's being blocked. So I think that there is a lot I can do with this tree to elongate it. And this rhododendron's right here, and this could be taken out, and this branch could be trained over into this sunnier area. It could be given support, and those branches that come out could be really good producers. Here we have another sick tree. It's a cherry tree, really bad shape. It does have some wasps in it, and wasps are really beneficial for fertilizing and keeping out other pests that you don't want. So that's kind of a nice thing, but not a lot to go on there. But it's nice to see that there's a couple of mature trees that are fruiting. So as we come around here, let's go over to the side of the property. Again, this is the area that This is going to be a huge, huge, huge blueberry patch over here. It gets great sun, and this brown wall creates a really nice microclimate. So it soaks up all this sun and just kicks back heat, and that's going to make the blueberries like just pop. So that's going to be a great side project there. There's a little bit going on over here. Haven't really thought about what I can do with it. Might just be might just kind of keep those things there for some biodiversity. We do have a little bit of bamboo growing, which is good for keeping insects down. Potentially we have some issues here with the neighbors' invasive vines, and we're gonna have to be very careful to keep that at bay. Now we come to the back property, and this is just exciting back here. We're in another space where, again, it's going to be a lot of work back here, but it's wide open. You can see it's this huge area here, and it's mostly ferns. And so this is going to be the I got a cobweb on the camera. The fig patch. This is going to be filled all with fig trees. Here where you see rhododendrons, a lot of these will be taken out and figs will be put in there. I'm going to keep some of the rhododendrons because their flowers attract pollinators and hummingbirds and stuff like that. So, and then I'll be putting some other species in that are complementary to figs. And yeah, this is just going to be, maybe I can squeeze in about 7 fig trees, maybe 8 if I do a couple of smaller size ones back here, and eventually maybe a couple of more, but I don't want to pull everything out and then just have it bare back here. So it's going to be sort of a slow process. The goal is to get 5 years to get the basic farm up and going, and to the point where it's producing food not just for us but for other people. So you can see really huge space, a lot of work to do, and I will be having that shipment of fig trees coming in the spring, so be putting in a huge order, and then we'll be doing a massive planting. So you can see you got some vermicomposting going on there. Here's another area that is going to be worked on, but probably will just be just various biodiversity plantings. It's pretty shady over there. It doesn't get much sun, so you know, we'll see what we can get to grow over there. And then here is the sun deck. You can see today it was a rain deck, but this area is quite large. This is a large size horse trough for a little bit of scale, and what this area up here is going to be is the tomato deck. It gets really hot up here. The microclimate's amazing, so we're gonna have multiple horse troughs up here growing heirloom tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and some beefsteak tomatoes that will grow in the northwest. We'll probably have some heat-needing vegetables, and probably a few herbs, and maybe 1 or 2 smaller fruit trees that need a bit more heat, and we'll keep them dwarfed, like maybe some pawpaws up here is a possibility. We are in a zone 8 growing, which is comparable actually to a lot of southern states, and we don't get frosts here very often, and when we do get frosts here, it normally does not penetrate the ground, so the variety of species that will grow here is quite abundant. Some issues that arise around here is soil drainage, because it's very wet, and so some species that grow in zone 8 prefer more drained soil, and So I might have to do some areas where I work on the soil and build special mounds that sort of adapt to the species, put in more gravel and rocks in certain areas and get it to drain better, etc., etc. But pretty much most of the things grow here. One thing we might do is a later project is get a greenhouse up on the tomato deck, and in which case I'll be growing try to grow some pineapples and dragon fruits in that and get some tropicals going up there too. Pineapples and dragon fruits are tropical species that can do pretty well in greenhouses, so that can be an exciting project for the future. So species that we're thinking about definitely growing is tons of figs. We're going to try to specialize in figs. The reason for that is that figs go for high dollar and they have high yields, and they are really resistant to most diseases, and so we feel that, and we love figs, so we feel that's a good place to step in. Other species that we'll be working with are cherries, persimmons, some plums and prunes and stone fruit. What other fruits were we talking about? There is a type of hardy banana that grows in the Himalayas that I'm actually going to try here. It's supposedly really sweet, but it has seeds. But I'm excited to try that anyhow. And then definitely like a lot of berries, grapes, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, gooseberries, elderberries, there's going to be quite a few. And beyond that, we'll have to put that in another video as we start the planning process. This is already getting too long. But one last thing I wanted to point out is that back here, this is entirely a green belt. It's 10 miles long. It goes down to a creek and a ravine, and there's already about 4 or 5 different types of berries growing back there, and many types of wild greens. So part of the project, once we get this area going and rolling, will be to start cutting trail back there and encourage a wild food forest. And that'll be a really important and fun aspect of the project here, which is to combine those elements of permaculture and wild-crafted foods along with the domesticated foods. So that is the quick and short tour of the Fruitluck Farms, and I'm very excited you can join us on this journey. I will let you know when we have our Facebook and YouTube channel up and going. Alright, see you guys later.